Did your Twilight experience turn out to be what you expected?
Oh.
8 stars who secretly hated their most iconic roles. What if the role that changed your life also became the one you wish never happened? For these 8 Hollywood stars, fame came with a strange twist. The very characters that made them legends were also the ones they came to resent the most. And the reasons? Some are hilarious, some heartbreaking, and others just plain disturbing. Let's start with the brooding vampire who became a global obsession overnight. Robert Pattinson. From Twilight. When Twilight hit theaters, Robert Pattinson became an instant icon. Millions fell in love with his pale, mysterious Edward Cullen. But behind the scenes, Pattinson wanted nothing to do with it. He often mocked the role, calling the storyline melodramatic nonsense. In interviews, he seemed visibly uncomfortable discussing the franchise, and even joked that the only thing he took from the set was his dignity. He later admitted he tried to play Edward as depressed and disturbed on purpose, just to cope with the writing. And despite the billions the franchise earned, Pattinson has never looked back. But he's not the only one who wanted distance from their breakout role. Blake Lively from Gossip Girl. Blake Lively became a fashion icon and teen queen thanks to her role as Serena Vanderwoodson in Gossip Girl. But to Blake, the character felt more like a personal burden. She later revealed how uncomfortable she was with the way Serena was portrayed, saying she didn't like how the character glorified toxic behavior. Blake made it clear she didn't want to be associated with the choices her character made, saying, "It's weird when people think that's who you are." And for another young star, the line between who she was and who she played was even more blurred. Kate Winslet from the very famous movie Titanic. When Titanic hit theaters in 1997, Kate Winslet became a household name. But she's never been comfortable with how it happened. She's been candid about her embarrassment over the role of Rose, calling her performance awkward and even cringing at her own voice in the film. Kate said she'd love to do it all over again because she feels she didn't do the character justice. And beyond the acting, she found the fame overwhelming, saying the intense attention on her body after Titanic was horrifying. But while Kate was embarrassed by her work, Miley Cyrus from Hannah Montana. At just 13, Miley Cyrus became a global phenomenon as Hannah Montana. But what looked like a dream role actually led to years of confusion and anxiety. She later said living a double life on and off screen left her with an identity crisis. In her words, "I didn't know who I was without the wig." Miley struggled with body image, expectations, and public pressure to act like her character, even when cameras weren't rolling. She later admitted the role messed with her head and caused her to question her self-worth. But she's not alone. Another teen idol also wishes he could erase the fame that came too fast, too soon. Number 5. Zac Efron from High School Musical. Zac Efron was every teenager's dream in High School Musical, but he quickly grew to despise the role that launched him to stardom. He once said, watching his younger self perform makes him want to kick that guy's butt. He saw the role as cheesy, over the top, and disconnected from reality. To him, High School Musical was like being trapped in a bubble, one that shaped how the world saw him long after the credits rolled. It was fame, but it didn't feel real. Even Oscar winners aren't immune to regret. Just ask Kate Winslet. Harrison Ford from Star Wars Han Solo may be one of the most iconic characters in sci-fi history, but Harrison Ford has never been shy about his disdain for the role. He once called Han Solo dumb as a stump and spent years trying to get the character written off. In fact, during the filming of Return of the Jedi, Ford begged George Lucas to kill Han for good. He found the character flat, unchallenging, and lacking in emotional depth. And when he finally returned for The Force Awakens, it was under one condition: Han Solo had to die. But Ford's frustration is tame compared to what one actress endured on the set of a billion-dollar franchise.
Megan Fox from Transformers.
Megan Fox became a global adultery symbol after Transformers, but behind the glamour was a toxic experience she's since spoken out about. She called her performance terrible, but it wasn't just the acting that made her uncomfortable. Megan described working with director Michael Bay as intimidating and compared his behavior to that of a dictator. She said she felt objectified, under intense pressure, and ultimately unsafe on set. Her criticism got her fired from the franchise, but years later, fans began reevaluating how she was treated. Still, even actors who found early success in feel-good roles aren't immune to regret. Will Smith from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Will Smith may have made the world laugh as the Fresh Prince, but he later admitted he was faking more than just the jokes. In his own words, watching old episodes makes him cringe because he can see how insecure he was back then. He wasn't acting, he said he was mouthing words and trying to be cool. It took years for him to grow into a real actor, and while Fresh Prince opened doors, it also reminded him of how far he had to go. So now you've seen how fame can be both a dream and a trap. Behind the spotlight, many stars were hiding regret, pressure, and pain. The roles that made them legends also exposed their deepest struggles. But this is just one layer of Hollywood's darker truth. There are stories of vanished stars, ruined careers, and secrets buried deep. Subscribe, because in this town,